Small Tower Gangsters was definitely one for the books. I cannot count how many things like went wrong and were crazy, and it was still the best time I've had in a really long time racing. From multiple trans brake buttons to a blown out front runner, and then a nail in my radial at XRP the day after Small Tower Gangsters. There was like so many crazy things going wrong. Oh, my trans brake still. We went through everything trying to fix it, and it still has a little hiccup, but we made it. Car's still in one piece. So let me show y'all what all happened. So that was my second test pass out at Yellow Belly the Thursday before Small Tower Gangsters. I kind of fudged up my first one, so we just want to show that. I have a bad habit of yanking the steering wheel, and that started now that I'm not shifting the car myself, so found my way out of that. Great test pass. We're like, yes, this is a great way to start for the 530 index. Now let me show you my one and only radial test pass. That was great. I actually have two sets of rear wheels. Well, I have one set of rear wheels for the Camaro, and my dad has a set that he lets me use. And so I took one set with slicks and one set with radials so I could run Little Gangsters on slicks and True Street on radials, of course. So let me show you that pass. Well, that wasn't technically much of a pass, but it turned out like the back of my button was broken. I had some buttons that were given to me, and I just threw them in the car, didn't think anything of it, and I've been using them since June of last year. And come to find out, they had like solder on the back, and the solder had broke, and I guess it just reconnected from vibration, and it hit the two-step limiter. Big flames. Poor Poland for him sitting right there and the flames getting so close to him. But luckily, I was able to go back. I had another button to put in the car for the time being, so that way I could still put the car in reverse and everything, because I didn't want to mess with that broken button. And then the next morning, it was off to Summit to get me a new button. If I had just taken the time to install my Quickdraw drag trigger, wouldn't have been having that issue. But I was in a rush, and I was scared of swapping and like being used to a button and swapping to the trigger. So I'm installing it now. We're not doing that again. And the next day was Friday. Friday was the first day of Small Tower Gangsters. I decided to run True Street. I knew I was probably pretty outpowered, but it sounded like fun, and that's why I took the radials out there. Wanted to be a part of it, and I actually went more than one round, so that's cool. So let me show you that first pass. And it was on to second round. I was really happy with that first round pass though. That's the fastest I've been on radials on like an unideal surface. Of course, like the car has done well, like going out to XRP. That's the only time I've really been on radials on a good surface. But on anything else, it has not been happy with them. So I was really excited about that. And I forgot to add that part of the reason why the car worked so well on radials this time and not previously was not only I added an anti-roll bar, but also I did a stator change back in December. We went with a little bit of a looser stator, doesn't hit the tire so hard on the leave, and that made a huge difference. And I was happy going into second round. I pulled Jerry with the Blue Nova. I knew I had to be on it if I was going to have any kind of a chance, and so let me show you all that. Well, as you can see, right about here I catch some air, come down, and then you hear a pop, and I come over to the right, that was my front runner blowing out. As seen in the clip before, somehow I managed to blow up my front runner in the shutdown on that second pass. Also took a loss to Jerry. He had that all the way. He had it on the tree. He had more power. That's just an awesome car. But when it took me a second to realize it's my front runner, I don't know how. I'm gonna blame it on adrenaline. But once we realized that that was the issue, Russell was great and he took the front tire off of his car so we could get mine back to the trailer. And it was off to Summit the next morning because my dad is awesome and he bought me 2 Summit wheels and some new tires so we could still run the next day for 5:30 Little Gangsters and then go to XRP on Sunday. He was like, nope, we're not stopping here. But I will insert a picture of that wheel and tire for those who haven't seen it. And I'm still pretty sad about this. My Illuma Stars, I really liked them. And, well, that wheel's looking a little rough. But hopefully I can get a replacement one so we can go back to having Illuma Stars on the front. For now, I'm going to rock the Summit wheels. Okay, day 2 of Small Tower Gangsters. I was super excited for the Little Gangster class. That was the main class I was going to run. 530 is just my favorite class. I always said I wasn't going to be an index racer, but I kind of like 530. Anyways, after 3 trans brake buttons and that wheel, the morning of the Little Gangsters class, day 2, I also messed up my bump button. So started the day out fixing that up. Shout out to Parker for giving me an extra button after I'd already been to Summit for the other button and then again for the wheels and tires and still somehow was a button short, but I digress. Let me show you first round of Little Gangsters. Well, it's like to drive 5 hours and end up racing one of our own first round, but I was super happy to make it to second round. And so you can see that pass was not very great. We find out at the end of the night that something was dripping on the right side and I was running over my own fluid, but that was yet to be figured out at this point. So let me show you round 2. I forgot I don't have an outside of the car video of round 2, but I do have an in-car. It was pretty interesting. Felt bad for the guy. He red lit and then his truck blew up or his engine blew up. So never want to see that, but let me show you the in-car. Well, I hated to make it to the next round that way, but I was happy to be going on to third round. We started out with like 76 or 77 Little Gangsters. Forgot to mention that earlier, so I made it down to under 20 cars out of that many. I was super happy about that, so let me show you third round. Well, a third round exit was better than a first round exit. So all in all, it was a great time. I was happy that I made it through the whole Small Tower Gangsters race after everything that happened. And Poland and Tom put on an amazing race. I can't wait for the next one. And after that, it was hard to be sad because we were already planning to go to XRP the next day and I was looking for a new PB. So I'll show you all that in just a second. I also forgot to add that I went my best 60 foot ever on slicks. Like, it's the best that I've ever been, even on radials. I went 127 out there at Yellow Belly. My 10 Soldiers anti-roll bar was a big help. That was my first race with an anti-roll bar on the car. So I was super excited about that, and that had me even more pumped for the next day at XRP. terrible job of videoing, and it's been a wild weekend. But here we are in the staging lanes at XRP. I've already made one pass, and I popped my belt. So the belt was intact. They were able to get it back for me. But I went to Riley's, got 3 more, so we were back in business and added more power. We're gonna make another pass. Hopefully this will be a PB. We'll see. But now we have a nail in my radial, and the car has overheated twice because it keeps throwing a belt. Turns out my idler pulley was loose. Stupid, something that should have been checked, but we're out here and we're trying. We'll see if it's possible to go another pass. If not, that'll be it for this time out on radials. Kind of sucks. I'm 300ths off my PB, and I forgot to load the right tune on the last pass, so it's been a long weekend. Here's the nail. Let's see. Was it gonna leak or no?
Nope.
It wasn't even gonna leak. Dang. Well, as you just saw, that nail ended up being more of a thumbtack. Thankfully, my radial's still good. Stayed up the whole way home. And they closed the lanes right as we figured out that the tire wasn't hurt. But that was a good decision. Jack was hesitant of me even making another pass after we had overheated it. As you could see at the end of the pass video, that last pass, it blew water on the windshield. So in part of it blowing water on the windshield was that we didn't realize the belt popped off a second time in the burnout box. That's when we brought it around and finally realized the idler pulley was loose. At that point, it was too late, but at least we figured out the cause of the issue. So it was time to bring it home and pull the heads. And never want to end a weekend that way, but you know what? My little 4.8 is still together and it lives to be beat on another day. All in all, a really great weekend. Thank you to all of my amazing sponsors that made that weekend possible. From RedTide Racewear, keeping me safe in the car, 10 Soldiers for the anti-roll bar, Nitrous Express and Snow Performance. Without them, I couldn't spool, I couldn't fuel the car, wouldn't have CO2. BTR for the custom cam. We actually are gonna try another cam after that, but we're working our way towards the best that we can do with that little 4.8. Circle D, without them and that converter, wouldn't be doing anything of what we're doing with the car. Viking for keeping my suspension on point. Vibrant for my clamps. A big thank you to Jack, of course, squirrel tuned. Without him, the car wouldn't have a tune to do any of what it's doing. So at the end of the day, I have a bunch of wonderful people on my team. I know I'm missing a few, but I'm thankful for each and every one of you who continue to help me, whether you're a company or a person or just anyone helping me on this journey. Thank you all for everything y'all continue to do.